Ooh, come on. Oh my days, people. It's Tuesday night. The sun is shining and the solstice has happened. Oh my days. The nights are creeping in. But no worries, people, because I am Dan Lewis and it's 9 p.m. And you know what that means? It's on the Bywire. Dano. We keeps it real every night of the week, especially Monday to Thursdays at 9 p.m. Now, before we get into the show, quick reminder, what have you got to do? Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the follow button, all the buttons. Just hit all of them until smiley faces come up and I keep smiling. You know what I'm saying? Don't forget to check out bywire.news, where we have the latest and the best and the most exclusive in independent media and news, all for you. And don't forget as well, if you hit that donate button, you can become a part of the media. You can own the media. Oh my days. Imagine owning a part of the media. Imagine every time you donate to independent media news sites, right? Rupert Murdoch cries a little bit. Just imagine the thought of that. Rupert Murdoch crying a little bit. I've said enough. I can already see the numbers rolling in. You're all donating. Fantastic. Welcome to the show, people. Now, we do have one of my most favorite people in the world on the show tonight. It is Ramona McCartney from the People's Assembly Against Austerity. What a name. And when I first saw the People's Assembly Against Austerity, I was like, that's a big name. I don't think that's going to stick. Now, what is it? Like 5 or 6 years later, even longer, 10 years later, they've still got the name and it is rocking things, bringing out thousands and thousands of people. Boy, also, when I saw that, when I said, oh, we're getting Ramona on tonight, I was like, I need to get myself a bottle of wine. So in true Ramona and Dan fashion, I've spilt a little bit, but I've got a little bit of wine there. Ramona's got her wine. How you doing, Ramona? Are you good?
I'm very good, Dan. Very, very happy to be here this evening.
Thank you.
You made me dash last minute to go and get myself a glass of wine. That was like under pressure, fast wine bottle opening. But you know, I did
it. Do you know what? I was watching The Sun. And I was thinking the last time I spoke to you, like I had a good chat with you on the phone, we were both drinking wine. And in that phone call, we got through a lot of wine. So I was like, oh, I want some wine. So here we are, we're drinking wine. Anyway, you're very busy at the moment because you're trying to organize like thousands and thousands of people to go and do one of my favorite things, which is march on Parliament. So What's going on? Tell me more about it.
Yeah, well, it's a long time coming. I think you might agree, Dan. We've had a really rough year and a half. You know, I think since March last year, we've started. We were trying in the People's Assembly and a lot of other campaigns were trying to make sense of this whole crisis, and one of the biggest things was the government's mishandling of it, and we were like kind of first off the bat to be able to sort of broadcast that loudly, saying, hello, you know, what's going on here. We were at the time, this is going back 15, 16 months ago, we were talking to infectious disease specialists, we're talking to scientists, we're talking to doctors, we're talking to people that knew better, people from other countries that were actually trying to put some strategy into place to protect their population. And our government just were refusing to do that. You know, they were more concerned about. Well, actually, they tried to roll out a herd immunity program. That was very obvious when we just heard Dominic Cummings and his confessions that we were not surprised about at all, saying that the cabinet minister was saying to Boris, just go on the TV tomorrow and tell them it's just like chickenpox parties back in the day. Get everybody together, and before you know it, wham bam, we've got herd immunity and everybody's grand by September. I mean, how reckless when you think about that. So, I mean, why we're here is because all of these things are, on the left and the Labour movement. Of course, we try to be as responsible and to protect our communities as much as we possibly can.
Yeah.
The thing about it is these people, the Tory government are, they're like a wrecking ball at the moment, and there doesn't seem to be much opposition to that. So we've had a year and a half of them. Well, first of all, when we look at the pandemic hit, we already had 10 years of brutal Tory austerity. So when the pandemic hit, we were already in a really, really vulnerable place. Was really, we didn't have decent jobs. We had really appalling housing situation. I mean, the cuts to benefits and the cuts to disabled people's benefits and all of these things had amounted to the worst, and the underfunding of the NHS and the lack of staff and all of that. You couldn't have been in a worse position for a pandemic to hit. That, coupled with their absolute incompetence, seems to be the wrong word, because incompetence kind of lets them off about it. It was just their negligence and sort of, their disregard for.
It was intentional, because they literally do not care, isn't it?
They just really, really do not care. As long as I'm all right, Jack, who cares about you? And we saw that play out. And so we see for the last year and a half, the Labour movement, we have been trying our very utmost best to stay as safe and protect those that we love and or protect our communities. But there does come a time where we can't be, like, they're actually still not playing by the rules that they set for everyone else and all of us. Right. And also they're not protecting workplaces. I live in London, Dan, and the tubes are still packed, the buses are packed, workplaces are unsafe. But yeah, we're supposed to, as a left Labour movement, maybe not protest, not say anything, not carry out strike action. I think that there comes a time. Well, we planned this demonstration that's happening on Saturday for the 26th of June because it was the first date after the restrictions were supposed to fully lift on the 21st of June. So we did that intentionally so that people would feel comfortable and we were in a safe environment. They changed that and kicked it down the road to July the 19th. We could keep putting this off, but that could keep being put off as well. And then you're into the summer holidays, and then, when are we going to stand up and confront them? And so that's what we're doing. We are pro-vaccination. Obviously, we are we've done a thorough risk assessment. We have got COVID stations where we're going to have masks free of charge, hand sanitizer. We have stations all over this demonstration. We will be having a massive, massive stewarding team, bigger than we've ever seen before, to make sure that we can be as COVID secure as possible. But we really, really believe that we do have to unite against the Tories right now. And that means that we have to have all of the movements joined together. We have to have all the trade unions, all the grassroots organisations. We have to have everybody showing a united front on Saturday. And that's what we have to do. And we will march to Parliament with one big voice. And that's what we intend to do. And that's the reason we're doing it, because enough's enough. The corruption's at an all-time high. What do we do? What happens if we just let them continue? They're just shoveling money out of the public purse into the pockets of their friends. At 37 billion, at least 37 billion over the pandemic. It's like it's a smash and grab, daylight robbery. And what are we supposed to do? Sit back and continue to watch it? So I think this is one of the, there have been other demonstrations and other successful demonstrations, especially the Free Palestine demonstrations, which showed us, that we can. And I think outdoors, we have taken advice as well from Independent Sage, and we are outdoors. It does make a difference when you're outdoors, and if you practice social distancing and you mask up, and it is possible to carry out this. And I think that right now we are in a situation where it's long overdue, a united front from the left demonstration to oppose the Tories. So hope we will be there.
One of the things I've noticed recently with a lot of the demos is like there's a lot of young people coming out. Like, young people are really, really angry. Like, obviously, if you lock a young person up for a year, like, I don't mean jail or something, just generally, you keep a young person inside for a year, they're gonna have a lot of energy to use. But it seems that they're very politically aware, like, compared to when I was, when I say young people, I mean like under 25 or even under 21. I wasn't that political. Like, literally, this is my view. It was like, I said to my stepmom, like, oh, that lady down the road does politics, innit? Like, I might help her out and get involved. And my stepmom's like, she's a Lib Dem, Dan. And I'm like, are they good guys or what? This was pre-2010, by the way. So, but there is a lot of young people. So, with the groups that you're hoping to see out there, obviously you've mentioned trade unions and different organizations across the left. Is there a call into people outside of those organizations as well? Yeah, and what's the script for them? Like, is it just turn up, rock up, pick up a placard and go? Or
absolutely. Absolutely. We have Black Lives Matter joining us. We have United for Black Lives. We have Kill the Bill Coalition. We have Extinction Rebellion. And a lot of young people are attracted to those movements, which is great. And they're in full support and official backing, and we'll have blocks. But yeah, outside of that, the NUS, the National Union of Students, are officially backing it as well and driving for the students to get on the street. So I think it is quite an exciting one, to tell you the truth, Dan, because I can see every section of the left mobilising for this, from, as I say, the trade unions right through to, so you're going to have the General Secretary of, Unite the Union walking beside XR, walking beside CND, walking beside, the health campaigns, walking beside the teachers, walking beside, the students. It's going to feel, and that's what I absolutely love on the day, is to see that sort of really broad coalition of people coming together with one message, and to keep it simple, because we're just united against what's happening. They're not fit to govern. We absolutely know that, because of what's been highlighted through the pandemic. And to be able to pull all of these people together under one umbrella and to march in unison, not only sends a strong message to the government, but it also gives strength, and it also gives courage, and it also gives people energy to take back into their own communities after they've come to the capital to march to the seat of power, to have their voices heard. It's good for them to go back into their local communities and start organising and to tackle things on a more local level. So I think that these demonstrations, these marches, do so much good, and it's long. We've been in over the pandemic, it's a year and a half of people feeling a bit isolated, and sometimes you forget that there's many of us. Yeah. Sometimes you feel a little bit alone, and also if you're just at home and if you're just in a small groups of people, you can see so much media being pumped, and we have to understand that the British media is controlled, by the right wing. It's a few billion years controlling the whole narrative, and that can probably really be oppressive, especially in a situation of a pandemic. But what we have to understand is the Tories might have the ear of the media, they might have all the money, but what we definitely have is we've got all the numbers. We've got, millions and millions of people in the movements, like the social media. We've got millions and millions of people in the trade union movements. We've got millions of people in all of the other grassroots organisations. We pull all of them together. We are a force to be reckoned with, and we will focus on confidence, and we will come out of this fighting fit. So that's why it's so important that we join the demonstration on Saturday.
Definitely. Now, I was checking out the website, obviously, seeing what's going on. I love this, right? So, and this is just, a lot of the time you go on different marches and demos, rallies, whatever, and it's like you're all fired up at the end. And you mentioned it before, it's about people going away and doing something. But a lot of the time you go to these things and you feel like, oh yeah, that was good. What now? You know what I mean? There's no after. And what's beautiful with the People's Assembly is obviously you have your I don't know what you call them, but like your satellite groups. There's People's Assembly, Eastbourne. They're cool. I love them lot. But Manchester as well, Liverpool, all the different groups, and the demands. Yeah. And the demands you've got, like on the website here as well, is we demand renationalize key industries. But you've added some extra information. I'm just going to go through the headlines. Decent housing for all, no Tory crony corruption, keep the market out of education, safe workplaces, save jobs, act now, tackle the climate emergency, fully funded social care. Funny enough, we're talking about social care later in the show. Open Democracy done a piece on it. But properly funded, fully publicly owned NHS, that's like number one for me. Kill the I nearly said kill the police. Sorry, that was not what I meant to say. Kill the police, crime, sentencing, and courts bill. Get it right, Dan. End fire and rehire. And there's more. It hasn't loaded on my And
we have also institutional racism, and also justice for international justice as well. The reason being, there's so much wrong, and usually we just have a couple of demands, but we really felt, especially with the pandemic, a lot of us knew anyway the sort of wrongs, and we knew that the Tories, through their austerity programme, had, completely, stripped our communities to the bone. Really, that's the truth of it. There's nothing. There's no libraries. There's no leisure centres. The educational system is underfunded. The NHS, women's funding for women's shelters, and all of these things. Legal support. All of these things have just been stripped right down. Housing, disabled people against cuts can tell you what's going on there as well in terms of how they've been affected. So a lot of us knew this already, but what happened during the pandemic was really exposed to the general public, that people that were not really involved in politics or maybe paid attention. And I think that was kind of one of the positives that came out of the pandemic, that people had to, and you were talking about young people as well, why they're more active. I think lots of people had to stop and listen and see and hear, rather than the daily noise of normal life had stopped for a little while, to give people a chance to sort of open their eyes and see how fucked everything really is. And so I think that we can't let that go. We need to keep building on that and keep their eyes open, and keep building for better, and keep building the connections between all of our communities, and keeping ourselves all connected, because at the end of the day, we have to join all the dots up, because they all relate back to the same source at the end of the day. So instead of having a protest over here and a strike over there and a disgruntlement somewhere, we need to be connected with each other and pull each other together when it's necessary. Things like Saturday, and say, we are all part of the same system, and you are treating us in a certain way, and we don't want to live like this anymore. So yeah, it's very important in fact.
No, definitely. I 100% agree with that. All of the sentiments. Obviously, I've been on a few of the demos, the events and stuff that People's Assembly have put together. You guys are always good at looking after absolutely everyone that attends. So no matter your ability, agility, or whatever, your background, whoever you are, you're definitely going to be welcome. And one thing I've got to say, having been a steward for the People's Assembly as well, a very long time ago. Pardon?
You're going to be one on Saturday.
No, having been one before.
Yeah,
I can't make it
for Saturday. That's
do you know what? Don't make me cry again, because I want to be there on Saturday, but I have got work to do. Like I'm working, so it's one of them. It was like, and I've got to do it. Because anyway, but having been a steward before, I know like definitely the stewards get a lot of time, a lot of attention. I know you're doing like some briefings with them over Zoom in advance. It's not just like turn up on the day, get a yellow jacket and walk in that line. There's a lot of work that goes in to make sure that everyone's safe. You mentioned before, especially with the whole COVID life, you've got stations for sanitizing, masks being given out, all of that kind of stuff. Yeah. I think that's just brilliant, and it shows the kind of organization that you guys are at the People's Assembly. If people do want more information, obviously head over to thepeoplesassembly.org.uk. But Ramona, what time and where have people got to be if they want to be a part of the demonstration?
I mean, if you just want to show up and just march, then we're assembling at 12 noon at Portland Place, just outside the BBC in London. We will have speeches. We have a stage with speeches there as well from 12 to 1:45. Our march takes off at 1 o'clock, and then we march to Parliament Square, where we have a big stage and end rally there to about 4 o'clock-ish. If you want to help out, as Dan said, it is an exciting thing. It's a political thing. It's being part of something. It's building relationships. It's having a special moment. It is, and I promise you, I'm not just saying that because we want you to help us. It is actually, there's such camaraderie on there, and afterwards we all hang out, and it's a lovely experience. So if you would like to be part of that, please show up at 10:30, where we have a stewards briefing, and tomorrow night from 7 we have a Zoom. It's not a long Zoom. It's just to sort of, if you are new to stewarding on a demo and you want to be part of a team and you want to know what it's all about, pop in tomorrow at 7. Look on our website or our Facebook page, and you'll find the event there from 7. It's just going to be a quick meeting, really, just to meet us and to know what to expect and see if that's something that you're comfortable with doing. And then on the day, 10:30, outside BBC again, we have a full steward briefing for what, put you into teams and what you're expected to do on the day.
I promise you, the next event, I will make sure I book everything off so that I'm there, because I did actually miss the last thing that you did. I can't remember what it was, but I think I wasn't even in the country, to be honest. I know. I'm bad, innit? I'm bad. What kind of a comrade am I? What kind of a comrade am I? But if you can do it, if you can get down, trust me, it is such a vibe. Like, the energy is so powerful. Just thinking back to all the ones that I've been involved in or been to, there's in Birmingham, in Manchester, in London, the People's Assembly is literally everywhere. And then, as I mentioned before, the satellite groups, they put on their own events and their own kind of stuff. Yeah. One of my favorite moments was standing outside of, I'm not sure if it was an Apollo theatre, but it was a Manchester theatre, and the local Manchester People's Assembly team were running into the foyer and putting like wallpaper paste on posters, running out, because there was like a bus stop right outside the theater. They were running out and just sticking them on the back of the buses, advertising the big march. And I'm just watching the lady who was doing it, like, she wasn't like a teenager or something. She's an adult, and she's just like, and I said to her, "Go ahead, girl," and she went, "Gotta tell them all, gotta get them all involved."
Yeah, I love that. And I've done loads of those in London as well, and it's such a thrill. It's such a thrill.
Such energy.
We would just put them on the back of buses, because they're going to be seen all across London. We go on the tubes, and because that's your captive audience. And then London Tube, no one says boo, so we can go on to the tube, and we get one person doing the speech, and then the rest handing out leaflets. And it's a captive audience, and the next stop we get out and get into the next carriage and keep doing that. It's such a hoot. It really is.
Amazing. Oh man, I'm gonna spend like a month in London next time, or wherever it is that you're doing. Wait, the Tory conference, surely that's gonna happen this year. Maybe I'll have to get down for that one.
Manchester in October. We will be there. Yes, we're coming for the whole conference. We're having a national demonstration. I've just notified the police and everybody in Manchester we're coming. And we're having a demonstration, and we're going to be there for whatever length of time they're there. We're there as well.
This is my kind of people. The People's Assembly don't ask the police; they notify the police. Yo, blood, man's turning up. Brilliant. Ramona, listen, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. I hope this Saturday is the biggest turnout possible for you guys, and every organization that's involved. You will definitely have all my solidarity while I'm sitting here on Zoom calls in my kitchen. But I will be tweeting about it, and every picture that you send me, I will be making sure it gets seen by as many people as possible. And I'll see you in it will be September in Manchester.
In October then.
Yeah, in October then. Yeah, whenever it is. But I will be there, and we will have a good time. Thank you so much, Ramona.
You better be, because 3 strikes and you're out.
Well, I've said it on the show now. My boss watches. He'll know I'm going to be there. But you have a lovely evening. I'm going to keep drinking my wine. I'll catch up with you soon. Thank you so much, Ramona. See you soon. Bye-bye. Oi, 26th of June, 12 noon, outside BBC Broadcasting House. You need to be there. Get down there, be a part of it. If you can help out, go on the website, give your details, thepeoplesassembly.org.uk, and get involved and be a part of helping move that on. Now, quick little story for you guys. It was actually Ramona who was one of the first people to give me a little break to do some presenting and this kind of stuff for the People's Assembly. And then from there, it's just gone from strength to strength. So big shouts to Ramona, man. One of the solid people in this world, trust me. So I had to give Ramona extra time to be on the show tonight, and she delivered as always. And as usual, we've got a nice little roundup of today's independent media for you. I hope you guys have got your beverages. I've got mine here. I'm sipping it slowly. I might have to go and buy some more after this because I've got the vibes. But starting off with another piece on the Hacked Off site from Brian Cathcart, explaining why the Daniel Morgan independent panel report confirms law breaking and wrongdoing by the press, and how, once again, this will be ignored by the mainstream media. Press illegality is the theme here, and Brian looks back to the year 2000, looking into the actions of the now non-existent News of the World paper and also the Mirror papers. It's a story that we hear time and time again. The mainstream media pointing in the other direction while serious things are happening right in front of us. I highly recommend reading this piece to get an understanding of how messed up some of our biggest publishers in the media are covering up their own corruption and illegal activities. They will make you think that the world is going to end because a footballer didn't sing the national anthem. While in fact, right here, right now, the Daniel Morgan report proves they are guilty. Over to Byline Times, we have an exclusive uncovering the government's failings in only resettling 12 vulnerable children under the asylum scheme. Byline Times have been covering the failures of asylum protection by this government for some time, and the government's vulnerable persons resettlement scheme, which was set up in 2014. This scheme is just it's a big phony project to look like they are doing something while doing everything they can to do nothing. When our taxes have gone into weapons that have destroyed the homes, schools, hospitals, and communities of people just living their lives, we have a duty of care. We do. We have a big duty of care. And we could stop throwing bombs and manufacturing weapons or selling them, but that isn't going to house the people who have lost their homes. So in this time, we must actually do all we can to help them. Thousands of children have lost their parents, families torn apart, people escaping actual war or even prosecution. Yet this government, who claim not to be institutionally racist and also claim to be a compassionate government, have done sweet FA in making a difference. Byline Times have looked into what has been done and investigated where failures become apparent. Thanks to Sam Bright for doing the work on that one, because it is a brilliant piece and I definitely recommend reading it. Now, talking of government failings, laugh out loud, HS2. Yeah, HS2, seriously, oh my days. I'm still yet to be convinced why this railway that they're building is necessary, especially now that in the last year, it is over 1.7 billion pounds more expensive than it was a year ago. The Canary have covered this piece and uncovered the spendings, but they don't miss a bit of detail as to where all of your taxes have gone in the 44.6 billion pounds of phase one of the project. So it's 1.7 billion more expensive than it was a year ago. And in total, just phase one, I don't know how many phases there are. The Canary go into more detail, but just phase one, 44.6 billion pounds. Meanwhile, we still haven't got money to give nurses a pay rise or house the homeless. Like, personally, I would like to see all of the railways nationalized. I would like to see the NHS brought into full public ownership and all of the private firms sent on their way out of the NHS. I would like to see affordable, well, actually, go to the People's Assembly website and read their demands. That's what I want to see. But, like, honestly, while they're spending 44.6 billion pounds on phase one of a railway that a lot of people seem to not want, I don't get where the money is not available for other things that we really, really need in this country. Now then, a magazine for Sheffield. A large number, I'll start that again. Now then, Sheffield's magazine have been covering the story about a large number of migrant rights organizations publicly voicing their concerns regarding a new reform to the current immigration system. Last month, a group of Sheffield-based organizations sent an open letter to MPs opposing these proposed changes, calling them inhumane and unworkable. Shahid Ezadi has put pen to paper, or in my millennial terms, finger to keyboard, explaining exactly what the cruel and callous Priti Patel is up to. Priti doesn't like the hostile environment. In fact, she wants an inhumane reaction to anyone seeking asylum or looking to immigrate to the UK. Having heard yesterday about the Union News story about Ace Ruel, it is bone chilling hearing what Priti Patel is now planning. Like, check out the piece on nowthenmagazine.com and sign the open letter in the article, because the new plan for immigration, it's beyond. I become speechless, because you try and explain in words, and you say we use words like inhumane, we use words like callous and all that, but they're not strong enough. I don't want YouTube or Facebook to kick me off of their platforms when I stream, so I'm going to keep my words to that. But read the piece and you will fully get what I'm saying. Now, big shout out to the Palestine Action Squad, who have been in Oldham this week, pouring red paint into the Ferranti Technology Factory, a subsidiary of Elbit Systems UK. This is the 7th action from the squad this month, and they are taking action against the kill chain that supplies Israel with weapons and drones, which they use to enforce their illegal occupation and oppression of the Palestinian people. There is a great video and in-depth piece on Real Media, so go over there, check it out, realmedia.press. Make sure you do. It's Palestine Action, like, you guys, if you're watching, I've hollered at you online. I don't know if it's because of secrecy or whatever, but come on the show, tell us more about it. You've got an open invitation there. Most definitely full support, brethren and people them and comrades. Now, a couple of other pieces I highly recommend checking out would be a start in altafrica.com. That's alt-africa.com, where on Windrush Day, shout out to everyone celebrating Windrush Day and remembering the people. The Museum of London have acquired an ensemble inspired by the creativity of the Windrush generation. It's a great piece looking into where the clothes have come from and the stories behind them. Over at Open Democracy, they have shamed Boris for not being able to talk about social care. Like, the dude keeps canceling meetings about it and not doing anything after it. Now, this was one of his election pledges or promises to people, that he was going to do something about social care. Like, I would rather he did something that's not that great than doing nothing at all, because something needs to be done around social care. It's another word that I can't use on this channel. Now, while Joe Biden over in America actually has a plan, I'll be interested to see how it goes, but you know, when Joe Biden's putting you to shame, it says a lot about yourself as a world leader. Also at Open Democracy, Jesse Lau has done a piece on the new community building around trans rights in Hong Kong, a metropolitan place with some archaic views on gender rights. It has some hard stuff to read, but overall quite empowering to hear the stories of people finding the strength to fight for what is right. I just think that any story of people coming together around issues that improve equality have to be shared, have to be told, which is why I read and view and consume independent media, especially from our independent media partners who do a fantastic job in promoting so many stories from across the world. So go over to bywire.news and hit that donate button, or check out some of our independent partners and hit their donate buttons too. Hell, if you can afford it, hit donate on all of them. £7,500. I wouldn't mind going out for the week now. Send the money to independent media. Real talk. A big shout out to the People's Assembly, Ramona McCartney. Thank you so much for coming on the show. An absolute legend of our time. You have done so much and are doing so many bits. I hope you will all be there at 12 noon on Saturday, unless like me, you've got a really good excuse like working, but I hope you'll be there at 12 midday on Saturday outside the BBC studios in London. It's not hard to get to off the tube. Trust me, I've been there enough times. And make some noise, take some pots, take some pans, shut down the place. You get me? You see me now? Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, show us some love. You know what it is. We're on Twitter, we're on Insta, we're on Facebook, we're on everything. And yeah, it's real. My name's Dan Lewis. This is On the Bywire. It is Tuesday night. I hope you guys are going to get yourselves a glass of wine and enjoy the rest of your evening. We will be back tomorrow at 9 p.m. Same place, same time. Peace and love, my people.